Welcome to Behind the Aisle podcast, where we are just two wedding professionals sharing a no bullshit approach to what goes on behind the scenes in the industry. My name is Sarah, and I'm a wedding photographer.
And my name is Katie, and I'm a wedding planner.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
Grand.
Yeah?
Yes.
Good. Yay.
I was just thinking about my calendar, and I was like, wow, I'm already
We're not doing
tired.
that.
I know.
We're not doing that
I know.
right now.
I know.
No.
This is the fun part.
Your fall season starts the 31st? I mean, technically it's already started, but like...
Technically it's already started, yes, but like... Emma was the one who like pointed it out, where starting on August 31st, the entire team has a wedding every single weekend up until December 7th. The only break that we get is the Thanksgiving like week break.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's a wee bit insane.
Just a smidge.
I go from September 7th to last weekend of October. And that's it.
Every single weekend.
I have 2 weekends off
Okay.
in there, but essentially, yes, every single weekend. And I have a triple header. Yeah. I'm trying not to think about it.
Have you lost your mind?
Yes, I sure have.
Wait, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah. Technically, Friday is a full wedding. 8 to 10 hours. I don't know which. And then Saturday is a really good friend of mine's getting married. It's like a backyard wedding, and I'm shooting it. So that's going to be like probably another 8 hours, but more chill.
Yeah.
Like just kind of hanging and doing. And then I have a micro wedding on Sunday. So,
Okay.
But the wedding on Friday and the wedding on Sunday are both at the same venue. Yeah. So I have to drive an hour and some change.
Oh, bless.
Yeah. But it's only, I think, 3 or 4 hours on Sunday,
okay.
which is nice. Yeah. But still, I'm going to die. It's going to be okay.
I'm not going to see you like a Monday or Tuesday.
Oh,
be like,
no. That is in red on my calendar. We are sleeping.
Sleepy.
Yes, we are sleeping. Typically, I do not do that. I typically only do one wedding a weekend. But
Same.
yeah, it just happened to work out that way. So it's going to be okay.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
Okay. So...
You keep like this tree is just moving because it's touching your pony, and it's just like
my little high pony that I did today,
engulfing you.
We titled this like idolizing quote unquote untouchables.
Yeah,
if you're watching the YouTube, you can see me do my little air quotes. I feel like in the industry, and then in every category, there's always going to be like those. I hate putting this. It already makes me have like an ick. The celebrity type people, just the really popular people. In every single, like I said, in every single category. There's several already that I'm thinking of, like from a planner's perspective. I actually know a whole bunch, not know them personally, but like know of names like in photography world. And in, actually now that I think about it, I don't think I know like really big names in like hair and makeup.
No, I mean, I know like the TikToker, like hair and makeup celebrities.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know a whole lot of like your celebrity or like very popular planners. I know of the ones that are in like our local area. I know of those people, but I don't know
the grander ones,
the bigger ones. I don't know those people. But yeah, I know of quite a few in my industry.
I was about to say, because I feel like for the photographers that they, like the photographer like ones, they also like push out education for like baby business owners. And so then it kind of like incorporates a bunch of like different categories too.
Yeah.
Whereas the wedding planner ones, those are the ones that are just simply, I think they're just targeted only like baby planners.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is like pushing like different design and all that kind of stuff as well. I'll be honest, a lot of like the big names who go into education from a planner's like category like perspective, they don't even talk about like the basics of like building like a wedding planning business. They immediately jump into like how to elevate your design and blah, blah, blah. Like they don't talk about like the basics of anything. Whereas I feel like on y'all's side, those that are the untouchables, or like the big celebrities, they actually do talk about like starting like a baby photography business, but you can also, like any other category, can take little bits and pieces of like the foundations and apply it to them. But then obviously as you continue to pay for their modules or whatever they do, it gets into more of like how to work your camera equipment and like the lighting thing and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so
what's interesting though about our industry as a photographer, we have like subsects of photography because clearly I am a wedding photographer. So I am focused more on the wedding industry and wedding photographers and wedding photographer untouchable whatevers. But then there's also the fine art ones and the ones that are in studio, and there's just like different categories. As far as like maternity photographers, or I know of a couple like in like specifically studio style maternity photographers or kid photographers or whatever. So it really depends too on which genre of photography you go into as to who you pay attention to as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So there's a lot more, I feel like different types of celebrities than for other industries.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Or other subsects of our industry.
Just like the different, like you say, genres or the categories of photographers.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, because I'm not like anything outside of like a wedding planner, I guess I'll do like non-wedding related events. Just haven't had the opportunity to. There probably are maybe in that field, I guess, now that I'm trying to think. I'm sure. I mean, there's always going to be some sort of like big name celebrity-esque type people, like in all different types of like categories.
Yeah. And we're talking more than just like a luxury designer or a luxury photographer.
Yes.
We're talking like multi-million-dollar people, like that have, millions of followers and all that stuff.
Like they started off in the field, and then eventually, and they started off so like early enough when the wedding industry really started to get popular, then all of the then they switched gears over to education, and then just kind of went, and that's pretty much like what their bread and butter is now.
Yeah.
So.
And I think everyone has somebody that they latch onto when they first start too, that they're like, this is who I want to be.
Yep.
And then it either becomes toxic or you learn how to not make it toxic.
And that, I think, that's like, I feel like a big core of like our conversation today is just going to be, like I'd mentioned before, the whole like, I guess, title of the episode is Idolizing the Untouchables.
Hi, we have a visitor.
We do have a very special guest.
Hey, you want to say hi?
Meow. That was not her. That was me.
Hi. Yo.
What you doing, mamas?
We've brought the guest star from our previous location to our new location. She's joining us today.
Yeah, she'll come to the office very rarely. She doesn't really like her backpack.
If you're not watching, it's Tilly.
Oh yeah, by the way. So,
the namesake to Katie's business.
Yeah, literally.
And just am looking at her butthole. It's fine.
Say bye. Yeah, but it really bothers. I can't get words out. Words are so hard for me today because my brain is like all scrambled because I want to get so much out at the same time. Because this like really bothers me so dearly and so much. Because also when it happened to me, and I feel like I don't think I'm over it. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, it just like really bugs me.
Well, maybe this is your therapy.
Just getting it all out. It comes from the place of, again, people not being humble. I think that is like one of my biggest icks and like a weird injustice thing where like people just are not humble like at all, and are not grateful for the platform or the position that they are in. And I look at that too from like even outside like the wedding industry, like Hollywood and stuff. And people, when I hear about other people treating like their fans terrible, or since my husband's involved in like back in like production stuff from like talent and like concerts and all of like that whole area, and I get to hear conversations of like how different artists treat their production people, it's a big ick like for me. It just drives me nuts. So now magnifying it into like our industry, more specifically into like the wedding planners, I had someone that I idolized, literally. I had like, you know how on Instagram you can there is a like a feature that you can like turn on where I guess it'll tell you like when they post something like on their Insta stories. Yeah. Like a little like an alarm or something. I had that for this person so that I could constantly like go and like support them and be in their comments and yada yada, all that kind of thing too. Like and then from Instagram, they looked like so like sweet and friendly and just, you know, like actually owning their business and serving people from a humble standpoint. And I was like, wow, that you don't really like find that a whole lot like often. And then I met them in person and my entire heart was shattered.
Yeah.
By that interaction.
That's why I don't meet your heroes.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I can just already hear like people being like, well, maybe they had a bad day or something like that and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I get it. Everyone's going to have an off day. But at the same time though, like self-awareness is also like a big thing. Like if you are putting yourself into a position then where you are invited and you're paid or unpaid, going to like these different like conferences or like educator things or whatever have you, and you're either a breakout speaker or a headlining speaker of some kind, and you have the opportunity to interact with people that look up to you. To me personally, hot take, you got to swallow whatever bad day that you're having at that point, or take yourself out of it being like, unfortunately, I'm not like in the space to be able to interact with people or whatever, and then pull out of whatever commitment. I don't know. I have no idea.
Or suck it up.
Literally. Yeah. Some like just swallow like whatever is going on then. And you just put yourself into like other perspective of like, okay, I've got people here that I know that I have built my platform. I have a large following. So, you know, the people that I'm going to be around then are people that most likely like look up to me. Like, again, the whole self-awareness thing, and like, then just being humble about the position that you're in. And when I had the opportunity to meet the person that I had been idolizing for many years, it was heart shattering. Honestly, I was super disappointed. And it was in it wasn't even like at a big conference where there was like a bunch of people around or like any of that type of stuff. It was a very small, intimate, education thing that I, had signed up for. And at the end of the day, still had a great time. I walked away from that with, some really, really great friends, honestly. And I was really thankful for it. And this was many, many years ago. Honestly, it was like, trying to think, it was like the year after like COVID or something. So
that was only 3 years ago. 4 years ago.
Okay. Well, it seems like an eternity. So
many moons ago.
Yeah.
3 years.
It just feels like there's been a huge gap. I think other people can probably co-sign on that. Like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
No, Katie, it's only been 4. Oh, okay. Anyway, it feels like eons ago. But anyway, yeah, and it was towards the end of this, end of this like mini conference, I guess, if you want to call it. And the host knew that this person was a really big influence into me and like my business and whatnot. And I had the opportunity to sit, shall I say, like, very close to them at dinner. So that was really sweet of the host to kind of be like, hey, like I know that, you know, she's gonna fangirl over this person. This person also was aware of that. She was made known of that. because she had come up to me and was like, can't wait, to chat with you a little bit later. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm very confused. And then when we, had the opportunity to, it was a big, long, table. I was very, very close to her. That was kind of like the surprise. Obviously, I'm trying to be very careful of alluding. I'm not here to shit talk anybody. I'm just talking about the experience, and it's come and gone now at this point, but it still hurts a little bit. But at any rate, sat down, and all of maybe 2 or 3, maybe top 5 words were spoken to me throughout the entire thing, and then the rest of the dinner, back was against me, and just had other conversations with other people from the other end of the table. Yeah.
Were those people on your level, or were those people higher than you?
Higher.
Yeah.
Yep. They were the fellow co-speakers, the breakout session leaders. Yep. Just had conversation with them. So yeah. So after that whole interaction, I swore to myself up and down, you know what? There can be influences in my life. There can be people that I will look up to. And if I find that, I'm going to do even bigger research, the next time I pay a lot of money to go to some sort of workshop or conference or whatever, I swore to myself up and down, you are literally not just going to jump into it because so-and-so is going to be there either headlining or, breakout speaker or whatever. You're definitely going to do your research. Yeah. And after that, I actually didn't go to another workshop up until, what was that, last year, the year before? And that I will sing praises of till kingdom come. But it was really disappointing. And I wasn't the only person. Away from that experience, I know that I'm not the only person who has felt this way, where maybe they have met someone that they idolized or really looked up to within our industry, and then completely were what the hell?
Yeah.
This was not what I thought this was going to be.
Yeah. My story is a little bit different than that. Because the situation that I was in when I met them they were very nice. It was not like they were rude to me or anything. But basically when I first started in this industry, we all know the probably 5 main educators, especially if you started in the 2016, 2017 timeframe. You couldn't get away from them. It was
dominated.
It was very clear.
Even I know.
Yeah. It was very clear who the educators were, and it depended on the style you wanted and where in the industry you wanted to go. If you wanted to be a wedding photographer or a studio photographer or whatever. But if you were in the wedding industry, you knew top 5. There was really only 5. Honestly, there's only 3 that I can think of. There's really only 3 that I know of for sure. But this one woman, I attached myself to. I unknowingly, I didn't go find her and work with her or whatever, but I found her. I loved her style. She had buku amount of education readily available that you could purchase, that you could be a part of, that you could, conferences you could join, blah, blah, blah. And there was other people that I was following that were also a part of her groups. And they were a little bit higher than me at that point too. So I was also idolizing the people that were under her. So she was Mecca. And then there was her little followers under.
I was going to call a posse or something.
Well, no, it kind of, yeah. I mean, yes, in a way. There was people trickling down under her that were rising to her level that I was also following. So it turned out to be a clique of people.
Okay.
If you're in the industry, you probably know who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to say names, just for the sheer respect of it.
Yeah.
So they were a part of, back up. So I bought all of her education. I watched all of her videos, was a part of all of her groups, paid a lot of money to be a part of everything that she put out. And I will say I'm incredibly grateful for it because it's where I am today because of that. Like, I knew nothing about the industry. I knew nothing about how to make this into a business, none of it. And she taught me all of it. I mean, that was her job, but she taught me all of it. So I'm very, very, very grateful for it because I don't think I would have the same style or know the things I know and be as comfortable in photography as I am without learning from her. She made it very easy. So I started 2016 and I had been following her basically from the beginning. In 2018, she was a part of a conference that no longer exists. It was an interesting conference. So I'm going to trying to be very vague about this. Because if I say the name of the conference, y'all are going to know exactly who I'm talking about. But there was a bigger name planner who was also in the same group who created this conference with all of her heart.
You're an idiot.
I couldn't.
Oh my God.
It's fine. Just go with it. It's fine.
Yeah.
And
Jeez Louise.
I had to.
Okay.
It's fine. So I went into this conference, and I've told everyone this story. So honestly, I don't care about people knowing what happened from it because it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's literally just
you said like this wasn't like a bad interaction at all.
It's just the way that I came out of the interaction, knowing what I had to do. So I went to this conference. She was a part of this conference, and I think it was so we were in like our own hotel rooms with like groups of people that we didn't know. And we were staying with these people for 3 days, I think it was. And I had been telling the people that I was rooming with about how much of a fan of hers I was. And I had kind of been struggling at that point to find myself in the industry because I was so shoved up her butt about like wanting to be just like her. And granted, this woman had 10 plus years in the industry and 10 plus years of experience. And I was just a baby coming into this thinking that I knew what I was doing. But I didn't know enough to understand that
you weren't doing it like her way.
I was, though. I was trying to.
Okay.
And it wasn't working because I did not have the experience under my belt. So I was doing my best to be like her, but it wasn't, there were things that weren't happening that I was like, why am I not getting it? Like, and then I started hating my work because it wasn't looking like hers. I was getting super frustrated at my shoots because there were things that were happening that I was not in the control of when I should have been. And when I would walk away, I'd be really frustrated that I didn't do what I should have done because this is how she would have done it. And I was just, idolizing this woman to no extent. Like, it was just insane. So at that point, I was getting really frustrated and I was almost going to throw in the towel because if you know me at all, if things become difficult or like something new and shiny comes up, I'm like, ooh, I'll just jump over to that. Like I've changed careers numerous times. But when I started, I told myself I was going to do this and I was going to figure it out and I wasn't going to stop. And I didn't, clearly. And so at that point of the conference, it was kind of like it's all or nothing. Like I'm going to give it all in this conference and it's going to change my life, or I'm going to go home and I'm just going to figure something else out.
Okay.
And so this conference had nothing to do with photography, by the way. Like, very minimal. It was all like building each other up and like, listening to everyone's stories and learning a little bit about the business and whatnot, but really just creating relationships and whatever. So I'd been telling these girls that I was in the my hotel room with, like, how much I had wanted to meet this woman, how excited I was to hear her conference spiel, whatever. And I really wanted to talk to her. And they were like, you should. And I'm like, no, nope. They were like, no, like, you really should. Like, that's why we're here. Like, blah, blah, blah. You should go and talk to her and say something to her and like, whatever. And so she did her conference spiel thing, presentation. I think it was the last day. It might have been the last day, or there was like, I don't know. I don't remember. Regardless. Yeah. So she did her presentation, and after the presentation, we were breaking for lunch, and her presentation was very like emotional and whatnot. And we were all crying, and it's whatever. And, so after her presentation, we all broke for lunch, and she was just kind of standing there talking to somebody. And I was like, this is my chance. This is my opportunity. Don't fuck this up. Like, just do it. Just go talk to her. And I mean, this is just a woman who, she lives in my area, kind of. Like, it's not like she's from like California or whatever. She's just a woman. And I was like freaking the fuck out. She's not a celebrity.
I was just about to say, like, these people that we do this to, they're not from like Hollywood. They're not some like big name.
You would have thought I was going up to talk to Blake Lively or something.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm going to throw up.
But that's like our version.
Yeah. It's crazy. And so I went up to her and I like stopped her and I was like, can I talk to you for a second? And she was like, absolutely. She was the nicest woman in the entire world.
Oh, I love this.
So sweet. But I just started crying. Yep. Just crying. She was like, are you okay? I was like, honestly,
no.
Maybe. And I basically just told her, I was like, look, I love you so much. Like, I have been watching your education for the past 2 years nonstop. I'm trying so hard to be where you are and get to where you are. And I've put you so high on a pedestal that, and I literally told her this, I put you so high on a pedestal. This is not what I was going to tell her. I was just going to go be like, hey, I love you. Thank you so much for all your hard work. And then nope. Just start crying. And I was like, I put you so high on a pedestal that I'm starting to hate everything that I'm doing. And I don't know how to get out of it. Like, I don't know what to do about it. And she was like, okay, that's okay. You need to unfollow me. Like, she was like, you need to go in and unfollow me and stop watching my stuff and stop being a part of my education for right now. Unfollow everyone that you're having this issue with and start over. And I was like,
oh shit.
What do you mean unfollow you? Like, I can't do that. Like, I've been watching you for 2 years, like nonstop. Like, she was like, trust me, it'll be worth it. Just unfollow me. And then if you want to watch my stuff, then you have to go and physically seek it out, and then you can make that choice. But you're not just inundated with all of this comparison content that is going to be detrimental to, your mental health and whatnot. And I was like, okay, thank you. Like, that's not what I was intending to have happen, but that was the most helpful and incredible advice that I could have ever gotten. I went home, and after that conference, I drove 6 hours home by myself, and I just like thought everything over. And when I got home, I unfollowed everyone. And to this day, I do not follow anyone that I can deem untouchable and like can find myself comparing myself to. Granted, now I've learned mentally that I'm looking at them as more of inspiration than comparison. And it still hits every once in a while. And I think I might have had the same discussion in our comparison episode, but I apologize if you're rehearing this again. But that was the most important information that I have ever received, regardless of how much money I've paid for education, how much money I've, put into stuff. Like, that was the most important information I ever received, because it's something that stuck with me until like to this day. And I don't follow them. I don't follow her. I don't follow anyone that was under her. I don't look at any of their stuff. I stay in my lane. And I'm very happy with my work. And there are still some times where I'm like, I could have done that better, but it's fine. Or like I see like the trends that are coming and I'm like, why aren't people liking my style or whatever when it's like not trendy? And I just got to stay with myself and stay true to myself. And like, that was when I started the idolizing and all of that stuff, it almost took me down, and I'm glad it didn't. And if that's any kind of advice I can ever give to anyone, I will scream it from the rooftops. There is so much content out there that you can, and so many, it's so easy to go viral and go get quote unquote famous nowadays that I feel like everyone can become an untouchable. Especially if like you're just watching people in other states like that you won't ever actually meet, but you want something of theirs or want the lifestyle they have or the experience they have or whatever, they can automatically be deemed an untouchable, and we can start idolizing their lives and the work that they get or whatever it is really, really, really easily. Yeah. Because it's so in your face. Yeah. And so easy to just be inundated with that type of content and those people on social media. Yeah. So
I agree.
Yeah. So that's why I'm not like weirded out about saying, like, I could say who it is easily. I'm not bothered by that, and you probably already know who it was when I did that little thing. So I'm not worried about it because it was not ever a bad situation that I was in with that person. But could have been if it was somebody else. But I just think that she was actually a very nice human,
genuine like person. Yeah.
Which is rare.
I think, there's always like two sides like to every like coin, essentially, where, like I said before, that person potentially understands the platform that they are on and understands the responsibility that comes along with it. And also from the or the other side, like not the moral side, but like from a PR perspective. Yeah. They also are highly aware of like, okay, I like have to behave in a certain way because of the position that I am in. Yeah. So, and like you said, not everybody. Yeah. Shoot, even like the Hollywood stars or whatever, like the little people, like we get to find out like it's a very slim chance that we will ever come into contact with some of these big name celebrities, from other people's experiences, and they've talked about it, or maybe like ex assistants or ex whatever interns, like for some of these people, they'll go back and talk about like how they were treated, and then all of a sudden you're like, this person's not really like someone that I want to look up to. So I think, because y'all know me by this point, there's a learning curve for everything. I think it's totally fine, obviously, having people that you look up to, and that's normal in everyday life, regardless of wedding industry or not. We're all going to have names that we look up to, whether it's close family members, whether it's a celebrity of some kind. Maybe you draw inspiration from for a slew of different things. But I think you have to keep yourself in check, which as crazy as it sounds, I'm glad that that's the way that she kind of like coached you and was like, okay, if you can't separate the love for like the art of photography and what I'm able to produce, then you need to take yourself out of it. There's not that, to me, that was from a humble standpoint.
Absolutely.
I don't think most people, really anybody that I can think of now that would be like, yeah, I think you should probably stop unfollowing me. They probably would be like, well, this is a you problem.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, granted, she has
sorry, not sorry.
So many followers, and losing one is not that big of a deal. But
I think honestly, from also knowing like who you're speaking of, I don't think, it was I don't care if I lose like one follower. I think, that was a genuine like piece of advice of like, hey, if you want to continue this art and you want to, continue on this journey, then here's a step that, you know, maybe if she had been in the same shoes, she would be following the same advice.
Yeah.
So I think that advice can also be really pass it along to like anyone who's listening, is like, if you're finding yourself that you're constantly checking in on like one person or maybe like a little group of people on a consistent basis to see like where they're like what they're doing and trying to mimic it then into like your business. Again, it's all about knowing the boundaries of things. Yes, there are business basics that we talked about earlier that yes, you have to implement, obviously doing the legal things, all that kind of stuff. But then when it comes to style though, you can, again, get basics from maybe like someone that you look up to, but at the same time though, you have to allow time to really soak in so that you can find your own personal style. Yeah. Because there's only one of you. That period. There's only one of you. There's literally only one of you. So there's only one person that can do your style, and that is you. Yeah. Again, you learning the basics from other people, that's fine. Taking little maybe tidbits of here and there from other people and kind of putting it together and finding your own groove. But even now, you know, I feel like even the person that, you know, that I was talking about and that I was kind of idolizing, my goal at the end of the day was never to get to like her level. Because where she was at, she was kind of like mid luxury level. I now have a new like mentor that she's actually, in my opinion, above her. But I knew from the very, very beginning that that's not the market that I wanted to go in, but it was the way that she put herself onto social media. And I was like, oh, wow. Like she is somebody that is like making a lot more money than I am, but she's doing it from a humble approach. And then I had the interaction and I was like, maybe this is all a facade. And then that's where it kind of clicked into my head of like, okay, social media really is a highlight. Like you need to chill out with looking at social media as like true authenticity. But this was many, many years ago. I do feel like social media now has completely shifted and people will call out inauthentic bullshit very, very quickly. Like especially with the newer generation, Gen Z coming through, they are so quick. Yeah. Cancel also very quickly. But yeah, there's no more room for the inauthentic thing. People at this point have figured out that social media is now not really social, it's purely marketing. Whereas the people I feel like that when we were first starting out, social media, like it was just starting to be the marketing thing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. The culture has completely shifted. Absolutely. Even though it wasn't even that long ago, which is crazy to think about. It was,
I think, maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Just within a decade. Yeah. Social media and the culture of it has completely shifted. So, but I think at the end of the day though, I think the big, you know, I guess plug or like message that we are trying to really come across is it's okay to have influencers in your life that you look up to. But at the same time though, you have to make sure that you are setting like internal boundaries.
Yeah. And that can be really, really, really hard to do.
Oh, of course.
But also the algorithm, we all know how the algorithm works on social media. The more you interact with somebody and the more that you like follow them and, you know, talk to them or whatever, like their stuff, all the interactions, the more they get put in your face as well. So that's where it can also get tricky too, because if you are trying to not idolize somebody, social media kind of makes it a little bit harder. Yeah. Because you're going to constantly have their stuff in your face and they're putting out like, they're pushing stuff that's like months old too. So, yeah, you just gonna have to keep that in mind if you are choosing to continue to follow those people, that social media is not going to be in your favor if you are having any kind of issues with
my favorite hack of using, because this was not a tool that we had. If you didn't want to see someone's content, you either blocked them or unfollowed them. Mm-hmm. Now you have the muting option, which I have used plenty of time of like, you know what? I do want to support what they're doing, but I found myself like comparing my stuff to their stuff, or I just, every time I looked at it, it just wasn't bringing me joy. Recondoed that shit. So I just went in and I started like muting people, muting their stories, muting their posts, notes, which not a lot of people use notes on Instagram. Anyway, but I digress. It's just a hard boundary. And if you need to speak, like find your inner circle, your local like inner circle, and start having conversations with those people about like, hey, I am struggling with this. I think that's something that I wish I would have gone back to and would have started a lot earlier, which was finding like my local like wedding planners, which I kind of did, but it was more or less I was just trying to
build your name.
Yeah. Instead of just being like, hey, I want to find like other fellow planners that are in the same like tier as me, and then kind of using them as a sounding board. But at that time, I feel like when we were first starting out, the community over competition, that was just starting. Like that movement was just starting. So it was still kind of weird, I guess, like befriending your quote unquote competition. At that point, now I don't care. So there's, especially where we're at, there's a plethora for everybody. So, but yeah, I think after that interaction, at least like for me, definitely shifted like my whole mindset, and I wish her nothing but the best. I don't have any ill will towards her. Obviously the you know, that whole interaction was disappointing nonetheless, but like I mentioned earlier, I had made friends from other attendees at that particular event, and still are friends with them to this day, which was really nice. So, but yeah, it helped me reevaluate just a little bit of like, okay, maybe we shouldn't put just one person like on a pedestal and like just star-eyed, you know.
It's very easy to do though.
Very, very easy. Yes, absolutely. So, but I'm curious about whoever's listening. I wonder if y'all have a person. So if you want to like slide in the DMs, I like want to be nosy, be like, yeah, if you have a similar story, we'd love to share like your interactions too. You know, there is a place for that where people can potentially, you know, submit their stories.
Yeah.
Sarah, where can they do that?
You can do that at behindtheaislepodcast.com or in the DMs on Instagram. We will also accept that.
Yeah.
So behindtheaislepodcast.com or on Instagram at behindtheaislepodcast. And where can they find you?
You can find me on the interwebs. Instagram, TILLYANDTEAL. Same thing for the website if you want to go to the website.
It's weird, right? I do that every time.
Yeah.
And you can find me at Serendipity Photography, SARANDIPITY, spelled like my name, Serendipity Photography. And my website's Serendipity Photo. Okay.
Yeah, go follow us on the Instagram too, Behind the Owl Podcast. We are still needing like What the Fuck Wednesday content. So like I said, if you've got maybe like a weird interaction with maybe someone you idolized, you know, your wedding season has up and started and you got some what the fuck like stories that you want to spill to the interwebs, go ahead and submit your content to that. Tell your stories. You can be your anonymous or not, totally fine. Because we want to spill the tea, y'all.
Yeah.
But we got no tea to spill if y'all don't submit the tea.
Yeah. What she said. Okay. See you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.